All right, welcome aboard, everybody. It's Saturday Baseball with me, your host, the Roto Lady. Okay, thanks for coming to the chat room. Let me say hi to our friends there. Tom Johnson, Boston Paul, SM King Turd. Not a lot of people on a Saturday morning. Eddie Heckman's here. Data Premier, Chris Gallo. Nice to see you all. Mau Pal, wonderful to see you. I've been missing you on Saturdays. Rotorius is here. Couple guests are here, and everybody's refreshing right now, so it's hard to see everybody that's here, but thanks for joining us, and we will go ahead and get started because I see that the sound is working. All right, let's get started with the poor Boston Red Sox, and this is for you, Boston Paul, who lives in Milwaukee but is a big fan of the Red Sox. The Red Sox opponents wreaking havoc against them on the base paths. On opening day, the Orioles stole 5 bases in 5 chances, all without a throw. They stole 5 more bases in the second game of the season to become the first MLB team ever to steal 5 bases in each of the first 2 games. The Pittsburgh Pirates took note of the Orioles' success and went 4-4 on stolen base attempts while sweeping the Red Sox at Fenway. What a disappointment for Red Sox fans. Boston's 14 consecutive steals allowed through the first 6 games of the season marks the most since the Montreal Expos in 1987, and it's the 7th most allowed through the first 6 games in MLB history. Now, a lot of it can be attributed to the bigger bases and the new pitching rules, which have doubled the stolen base total across the league. But for the most part, the Red Sox have nothing to blame for teams running all over them except for themselves. Their pitchers have been unable to hold runners on, and their catcher, Reese McGuire, I don't know why they sent Alfaro down. He would probably be better than this. I mean, Reese McGuire actually threw out 33% of runners last season. He was 16 for 48 throwing out runners. But he has not even tried to throw anybody out this year. Like I said earlier, this all happened without any throws, so they made no attempts to stop these people from stealing. Something has to be done there. Justin Verlander is progressing well and is nearing his return to the Mets. A specific date has not been set in place yet, but he expects to be back on a major league mound before the end of April. He's been able to continue to throw during his injury, and that's been key. He said he's been hovering around 75% in terms of intensity while he's throwing. And the general soreness he's been feeling has gone down, so the chances he is ready to start ramping things up goes up. He says, I can't give you an exact date, but I feel like I'm really close to being able to take the leash off and start getting after it and build up. He still has a small amount of inflammation, and he says he's not sure if he'll need a rehab start before eventually joining the team or if he'll just jump right in. But he said he'll certainly petition for the latter. So, yeah, guys like Verlander, they don't need a lot of rehab starts at AAA or anything. They just, once you're ready to throw. Joey Adell has homered in 3 straight AAA games, and Estevan Florio went unclaimed, and he's been sent to Scranton.
We told you. We told you.
Who told you?
We told you.
Well, Lenny told you, but I was actually hoping that Estevan Florio would get his shit together because I liked him when I saw him at the Arizona Fall League. He was nice enough to come over and take a picture with me, and he looked like a great baseball. That's what I thought. Lenny says that he didn't look like a good baseball player to him, but he was big. And he could run. I don't know. He was a great outfielder. Now he stinks. So I don't know what happened to him, but he was not claimed and he was sent to Scranton. Jake Odorizzi, my friends, underwent arthroscopic procedure on his shoulder and he will miss the entire 2023 season. Excuse me. The Rangers went into the offseason looking to upgrade their rotation. They had a 4.63 ERA last year, which placed them 25th out of the 30 clubs in the league. And they were also set to lose Martin Perez, who was their most effective starter last year. But by the end of the offseason, they had re-signed Perez, traded for Odorizzi, and signed Jacob deGrom, Eovaldi, and Andrew Heaney. Those 5, along with incumbent John Gray, totally overhauled the rotation, allowed them to go into spring training with 6 established big league starters. Now, the news here is Odorizzi out for the season. Marcell Ozuna. So these notes are not current. They're from a couple days ago. His batting average is still absolutely horrible, so I'm not going to argue that. But clearly the sports media, they don't like Ozuna now. They lost Bauer, so now they got to focus on Ozuna. And they keep talking about how they tried so hard during the off season to unload Ozuna's contract. And I mean, I actually deleted all that part out because I really don't appreciate opinions. I would really like more facts from writers, you know? I don't really need your opinion about how you want to get rid of Ozuna. Of course you want to get rid of Ozuna, but honestly, let's be realistic. Who's going to take the guy? If it wasn't just for his off-the-field issues and his horrible PR nightmare that you have to deal with because people complaining and crying all the time, the biggest problem is the fact that he's not hitting that good. And no team is going to take a contract like that. So you can quit your wishing about Ozuna's contract being unloaded on another team because nobody's going to take that contract if he's not hitting. I mean, it's hard enough to get someone to take the contract if he is hitting. But clearly he started the season horrible. He went 1 for 17. He had a .059 batting average, 200 on base percentage, and he had, when I said he's 1 for 17, his one hit was a home run. Now, that's changed since yesterday. He did get I don't know if he got a double or triple, but he brought his batting average up to .095, okay? So there's that. As of yesterday, the worst teams for runners left in scoring position per game. The White Sox, leaving 5.29 runners in scoring position per game. The Giants, actually, 4.5 runners left in scoring position. The Pirates, 4.33, and the Mets, 4.29. And the best teams with runners in scoring position are the Tampa Bay Rays, leaving 2.5 runners in scoring position. The Diamondbacks, 2.29 runners in scoring position. And the Rangers, 2 runners in scoring position per game on average. The most hard-hit batted balls in 2023. No surprise here. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has 17 hard-hit balls so far this season. I mean, how many at-bats has he had? Did he hit the ball hard every single time he's gone up to the plate? That's just crazy. 17 hard-hit balls. Matt Chapman has 16 hard-hit balls. Both of those two on the same team, by the way. Rafael Devers has 15 hard-hit balls. Too bad he's stuck on a team that can't give him any run support and can't stop runners from stealing bases. Ronald Acuna Jr., no surprise there, 13 hard-hit balls. And Jordan Walker, 13 hard-hit balls. A hard-hit ball constitutes a hard-hit ball? It's when you hit the ball 95 miles an hour or more, exit velocity. Josh Donaldson is expected to land on the injured list with a bad hamstring. Dodgers lost 6-3 yesterday, but it was Clayton Kershaw's 400th career start. He has a losing record at just 2 stadiums. Imagine this. Kershaw's 400th career start, he has a losing record at 2 stadiums. One of them is Chase Field. Wrigley Field is the other one. At Chase Field, he's 8-11, and Wrigley Field, he's 2-3. Brian Reynolds tied Willie Stargell for, how do you say his name?
Stargell.
Stargell. I knew I was wrong.
Stargell.
Every time I say Willie Stargell's name, I get corrected, so I was just waiting for it. All right. Stargell. All right. Brian Reynolds tied Willie Stargell for the most home runs in Pirates' first 7 games of the season. Both of them hit 5 home runs in the first 7 games. The White Sox are the only team in the American League history to allow 17 or more homers and 40 or more walks in the first 8 games of the season. They're also the first American League team with 85-plus hits through 8 games since the 2015 World Series winning Kansas City Royals. So they're getting hits. Clearly, they're getting it says they're the first American League team with 85 plus hits through 8 games. So even though they're allowing all kinds of home runs and their pitchers are walking all kinds of batters, their hitters are getting hits, and they have the most hits through 8 games since 2015, the Royals, and they went on to win the World Series. Longest hitting streak to start career, age 20 or younger, since 1901. It's Jordan Walker again. Yes, he has 7. He's tied, right now he's tied for 3rd. He has 7 hits. Longest hitting streak to start a career, age 20 or younger. Jordan Walker, 7. It's active, so we'll see. He needs 2 more to catch up to 1939 Ted Williams. Still, I don't trust this guy, okay? I do not trust him. Because I'm a fan of Dylan Carlson, and that's my bias, and I'm admitting it to you. So don't go on and say, I'm going to trade Jordan Walker because she says. Believe me, I have a lot of bias here because I don't think it's right what they did to Dylan Carlson. It has nothing to do with fantasy. If you have Jordan Walker, you better hold on to him for now. After a 1-week sample, there is a clear leader in DRS, which is defensive runs saved. The Brewers have the best defense so far. They've saved 13 runs. The Diamondbacks 8 runs and the Dodgers 6. Trey Turner has played 7 games for the Phillies. He has a hit in all 7 games. The longest Phillies hitting streak to start a season since 1901 was Willie Puddinhead Jones, 16 games in 1950. Yesterday was Julio Rodriguez's 140th career game, and he hit his 30th home run and earlier stole his 28th base. Only other players with 30 or more home runs and 20 or more stolen bases through 140 career games, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Darryl Strawberry. All right, my friends. Carlson has been producing all spring. He actually produced better in spring than your boy Jordan Walker. And the times that he's been able to get in the game this season so far, 2 times as a pinch hitter and 1 time in the outfield, he's hit all 3 games. So it's not about him producing. And I feel like it's just such a shame that these youngsters come up. Dylan Carlson came up, all this hype around him and everything, and 1 year later they're giving up on him. Last year he spent a bunch of time out with an injury, and I don't feel like they've given him enough chance, and now they're just mowing him over. I mean, Lars Nootbaar gets to play over him. Maybe his defense is bad. I haven't checked into that, but he should get some more opportunity to play. I mean, you know, they had a problem with Tyler O'Neill running the bases, so he sat out, but now he's back in, and we'll talk about the games now. So that's just my opinion. Everybody has a different opinion, and that's great. That's what inspires a great debate in our chat room. Brewers outfield is crazy good defense for sure. O'Neill on his way out, Lenny says. Well, we'll see about that. Maybe my boy Dylan will get another chance. I'm not even saying that he'll be excellent. But when he came up, he had the same numbers that Jordan Walker had, so that's just my point. The Mets and the Marlins. Pete Alonso became the second fastest player in Major League history to reach 150 career homers, doing it in just 538 games. Only Ryan Howard did it faster, and he did it in 495 games. The Marlins and the Mets both had 6 hits on the day. The Mets beat the Marlins 9-3, and the Marlins walked 12 batters. Edward Cabrera walked a career-high 7 batters in 2 2/3 innings, and the bullpen walked another 5. Cabrera leads MLB in walks with 13. Jazz Chisholm was batting cleanup and playing center field. He's not a cleanup hitter, and he's not a center fielder, so what are the Marlins doing? Edward Cabrera is just a less... Now, here's the thing about Edward Cabrera. You can put him in, and you look at the Miami rotation, and you say to yourself, like, you know, Luzardo's had his problems. But both of these guys, Luzardo and Cabrera, could be very good pitchers as soon as they get, you know, as soon as they work it out. They need to work some stuff out. But Edward Cabrera is a less polished version of Sandy Alcantara. 98-mile-an-hour power sinker, a 92-mile-an-hour nasty changeup. The stuff is there, but he has to stop walking. He has to stop allowing home runs. The Marlins rotation is a year or two away from being one of the best in baseball if Alcantara, Luzardo, and Cabrera, because you could see the improvement in Luzardo. He was at one time, just a few years ago, and Malpal will attest to this, the best left-handed prospect in baseball, by far. And, of course, we expected too much out of him, like we do with all prospects. He had a very shaky start, had to get traded, lost his job in the rotation, blah, blah, blah. But he does look better now, and maybe it's Luzardo's time to shine. And I'm just saying, I agree that the Marlins rotation could be a year or two away from being one of the best in baseball. They were that when Jose Fernandez was around, which broke my heart to the max because Jose Fernandez at the time was my favorite player. He was my favorite pitcher, my favorite player. I loved his attitude and his mound presence. He wasn't scared of anybody. He loved the game, and it was just such a loss. Jose Fernandez put the Marlins back years. And now it seems like they're getting to a point where they might be seeing it again with their pitching. That was a huge loss. Tyler McGill pitched 6 shutout innings, allowed 3 hits, and struck out 3. Lenny, what do you think of Tyler McGill?
I like him a lot.
Lenny likes him a lot.
Yes.
The other day, he liked him a little.
And Peterson, too.
Lenny likes McGill and Peterson. All right. Starlin Marte and Francisco Lindor hit their first home runs of the season. Brandon Nimmo walked 4 times. You got to love this guy's on-base prowess. The Mets have won 4 straight home openers and 8 of their last 9. They improved to 4-1 against Miami this season and rebounded from a 3-game sweep in Milwaukee. Dennis Santana gave up a 3-run homer to Garrett Cooper. Alonso hit his 3rd home run in 2 games and 4th of the season. I told you Jazz Chisholm was playing center field. He was back in the lineup after leaving Wednesday's win over Minnesota in the 1st inning. Remember Sixto Sanchez? I'm sure y'all do. Good grief. I had this guy in my NL only last year, and he's like AJ Puck, okay? You're just constantly seeing this news that he's going to come back. He's on his way back. He's on his way back. For 2 years, AJ Puck was on his way back, okay? That's how I feel about Sixto Sanchez, and he hasn't pitched in the majors since 2020. He's set to throw a live batting practice for the 2nd time at the team's complex in Jupiter, Arizona. So, look, this is an NL-only pickup, and it's a huge risk, and I'm not saying that you should go out and rush to get him, but I am telling you that when he does pitch healthy, he's pretty good. The Mets placed catcher Omar Narvaez on the 10-day injured list, retroactive to April 6, and they recalled Francisco Alvarez from AAA Syracuse, who doesn't qualify at catcher yet in any league. He only qualifies at utility, but eventually he will. I mean, soon he will. And I was talking with Big Al yesterday, who's a huge Mets fan, and we were discussing Tyler Stevenson. He was wondering if he should drop Tyler Stevenson to pick up Alvarez, and I say a hard no to that. I think I talked him into hanging on to Stevenson, who, by the way, did some good stuff yesterday. I think Tyler Stevenson is just a better hitter all around. He's more experienced. He gets on base. His average is great for a catcher. He will hit home runs. He spent a lot of time out injured last year. Anyways, tonight is Cody Senga against Trevor Rogers. That should be a good game. Trevor Rogers, to say the least, has been very disappointing. He's 0-1 with 6.23 ERA, but that could change. This guy is very he is not stable, okay? It seems like he has these great starts, and then he has these horrible starts, and that's what he started the season with, a horrible start. All right, Texas Cubbies. Cody Bellinger delivered the go-ahead RBI to help the Cubbies blank the Texas Rangers 2-0 yesterday. Marcus Stroman, though, good showing by Marcus Stroman. Struck out six and went 6 scoreless innings, allowed 2 hits and 3 walks just a few days after opening the season with a 6-inning, 8-strikeout start. In 2 starts this season, Marcus Stroman, 12 innings pitched, 5 hits, 6 walks, ouch, 14 strikeouts, and no runs. So his ERA is 0 and his WHIP is probably 1.45, but that'll even out. Eovaldi allowed only a walk in his first time through the order, but the Cubbies made the most of it when they got a few hits in the 4th. Dansby Swanson reached on a fielder's choice and stole second before coming home on Bellinger's RBI single for what turned out to be all the offense that the Cubbies needed. Ian Happ doubled in a run 2 innings later, and Eovaldi finished with 6 strikeouts while allowing 5 hits and a walk. And, of course, Michael Fulmer. Boo. No, I'm just kidding. I think Fulmer's a great closer, but he's definitely not a starter. Anyway, Michael Fulmer came in for the final 2 to cover his first save opportunity of the new season.
Lenny predicted Fulmer.
And, of course, I was just pausing there for Lenny to get his 2 cents in. Right, Leonard?
That's right. I predicted he'd be the closer. Let's see what happens.
Cubbies and the Rangers starting up at Wrigley. 2 interesting teams follow this season. The Cubbies and the Rangers both want to contend and both spent a lot of money. The Cubbies committed $423,845,000 on 24 free agents the last 2 winters, and the Rangers spent $854,450,000 on 16 free agents. So both spent a lot of money building their teams up, and both will be fun to watch this year. Leody Taveras. Okay, you know what? When this guy got hurt in spring training, his ADP dropped so far down that, honestly, he wasn't even getting drafted in some mixed leagues, and he could still be on the waiver if you're looking. This guy is eligible to come off the 10-day injured list, but will get at least one more start at AA. The problem with him is the oblique. The oblique is some injury that doesn't have a set timeline. It could take 2 months. It could take 8 months. You just never know. And if you bring a player back too early and it's not fully healed, then you run the risk of even more damage to the oblique. And Lenny knows all about oblique injuries. Tonight is the Rangers' Martin Perez. He's 1-0 with a 1.59 ERA. And both of these guys are left-handers. Justin Steele, 0-0 with a 0 ERA today, this afternoon. That should be fun to watch. All right, Yankees-Baltimore. Ramon Urias hit a tie-breaking double and then scored on a wild pitch. He made a sparkling defensive play an inning later at third base in the 8th to help the Orioles win their home opener, Eddie, 7-6 over the Yankees. I know it was a sold-out crowd. How fun is that for the Orioles fans? Felix Bautista pitched a hitless 9th for his 3rd save, and Aaron Judge stole a base. Baltimore scored 2 runs apiece in the 2nd and 3rd innings, only for Franchy Cordero to hit a 3-run homer for New York in the 4th. You love Franchy, don't you, Leonard?
I love him. 8 years I love him.
The Orioles improved by 31 games last season, going 83-79, and that was almost enough for a wild card, even though they still finished 16 games behind the Yankees. Severino, update. Right lat strain, threw out to 120 feet on Thursday, and the hope is for him to throw a bullpen tomorrow. Boone said that Carlos Rodon would throw live batting practice on Monday. Tonight you have Cole Irvin, 0-1, taking on Nestor Cortez, 1-0, in another matchup of lefties. How's everybody doing? I'm having a great time. Daniel, nice to see you. I hope you didn't miss all the White Sox garbage. The White Sox are hitting. That's all you need to know. They're hitting like crazy. They're just the pitchers are just faltering huge. All right, that's the summary for the White Sox.
Oh, say hello to Laura.
Hello, Laura. Nice to see you. Love to see you coming in. JT Realmuto hit a tie-breaking 2-run home run in the 7th inning, and Edmundo Sosa added a solo shot to lead the Phillies to a 5-2 win in their home opener over the Cincinnati Reds on Friday. Hunter Green threw 4 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, walked 3, and struck out 5. At one point in the 2nd inning, Hunter Green threw 17 straight fastballs at 100 miles an hour or 101 miles an hour. One of them was technically only 99.6, but okay, that was the good news. The bad news, only 7 of those were strikes. Now, here's the thing. You want to throw so hard, you want to, if your goal as a pitcher is to go up there and just throw at max velocity every time, you will not ever live up to your potential. That's my opinion. A lot of people might disagree with me, but I'm not a huge fan of velocity. Velocity doesn't make a pitcher, and just because you could throw the ball 100 miles an hour, if you can't get it over the plate, or if you throw it in the same spot every time, or if it has no movement, you will never be a good pitcher. You will walk batters, you will, not only that, but you're literally on your way to throwing out your arm. You will get Tommy John surgery sooner, you throw out your shoulder, whatever it is. A human body is not built to throw a ball 100 miles an hour over and over and over. So if you're not even throwing strikes, then you better reconsider how bad you want the 100 miles an hour and the velocity, because we all know Hunter Green is one of the fastest throwers in baseball. He broke all the records last year, and he's on his way to doing it again. But I'm sorry, the 17 straight fastballs at 100 miles an hour doesn't show up in your career stats as anything good. That's it. That's my rant on Hunter Green. Gregory Soto tossed a scoreless 7th for the win, and Craig Kimbrell worked the 9th for his first save. Wheeler failed to hold the lead, all right? And here's why. Because Tyler Stevenson tying RBI double in the 6th. Now, Wheeler went 5 1/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Zach Wheeler still had a decent day, and that's completely salvageable in fantasy. Alvarado got a hold. So he comes in right before Kimbrell. Someone asked about Alvarado and his chances of becoming the closer in Philly. I say as long as Kimbrell continues to pitch well, there is nobody else going to get saves in Philly right now.
Not true.
Oh, Lenny disagrees. I'm sure the management's come out and said that we're going to give closer by committee, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and they're trying to get Dominguez active. And
well, maybe I'm wrong, but they're paying Kimbrell the most. And if the contract means anything, which it does. Anyway, here's some good news about Bryce Harper. He went deep in batting practice, and the Phillies remain encouraged by his recovery from reconstructive right elbow surgery. Cody Clemens was recalled from AAA Lehigh Valley and started at first base after, bad news here, Derek Hall was placed on the 10-day injured list with a right thumb sprain. Hall said he's scheduled for surgery on Wednesday on his torn ligament and was expected to miss 1 to 2 months. That's horrible news, because he was such a great excitement for fantasy, and I think he will be good someday. But what are they going to do now? They lost Rhys Hoskins and Derek Hall. I guess, I just said that Cody Clemens was recalled from AAA, but that's just too bad. Fantasy owners everywhere went out and they got Derek Hall, and he was a great pickup, a great late-round draft pick, and now it's all over because of the injury bug that nobody can predict. The Mariners in Cleveland. Julio Rodriguez, the 2022 American League Rookie of the Year, hit a tie-breaking 2-run homer into the teeth of a strong wind as the Mariners spoiled Cleveland's home opener, rallying for a 5-3 wins. Rodriguez hit 28 homers last season and helped Seattle end its 20-year playoff drought. Yesterday, J.P. Crawford hit a pair of RBI doubles off of Aaron Savali, which dropped off Seattle. No, J.P. Crawford hit a pair of RBI doubles for Seattle. Those were against Aaron Savali, and Seattle dropped 3 of 4 to Cleveland at home last week. Josh Bell drove in a run. He actually went 5-2 in Seattle and Oakland to start the season. No, Cleveland. I should just forget it. I should just start this one all over. I'm not having a great time. Let me just look at the box scores. Logan Gilbert, 4 innings, 6 strikeouts, 3 earned runs, and 2 walks. Leonard?
Stop throwing things. Whoa.
Aaron Savali, 5 2/3, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Now, we have a double by Andres Gimenez, a stolen base by Andres Gimenez, and a stolen base by Julio Rodriguez. And, back to Josh Bell for a second. He struck out with the bases loaded in the first inning. He was just 2 for 23 to start the season before he hit an RBI single in the third to make the score 2-0. Even though the Cleveland Guardians, which is the worst name ever, they couldn't hold on to their lead, and they had a sellout crowd of 34,821 at Progressive Field. That's it for that game. Well, Paul Sewald got his first save. And here's another great tidbit. Jose Ramirez has hit safely in all 8 games this season and 13 in a row dating back to 2022. And guess what else? The Mariners, they're going to travel 49,000 miles this season, second only to Oakland among major league teams. Now, Dylan Moore, who has a left oblique strain, is set to ramp up his rehab on Monday by playing in extended games. The hope is for him to make his season debut during Seattle's next homestand. Tonight, you have Marco Gonzalez going up against Cal Quantrill, both right-handed pitching. Moving on to... Hello, Kenny Flamia. Nice to see you. Where are you a guest, Boston Paul? All right. I'm glad to see everybody having a great time in the chat room. This is very fun. Astros and Twins. Kyle Farmer bounced a bases-loaded single straight up the middle of a drawn-in Houston infield, giving the Twins a 3-2 victory over the strikeout-prone Astros on Thursday. Why are we talking about Thursday's game? Anyway, Twins starter Sonny Gray had a career high with 13 strikeouts in 7 innings. Jorge Lopez got the win after pitching in the 10th. Ryan Presley struck out all 3 batters in the 9th inning, and Mauricio Dubon drove in the go-ahead run with a single in the top of the 10th. Ryan Stanek lost control in the bottom of the inning with 2 wild pitches and 2 walks. Jose Miranda went 3 for 5. The Minnesota Twins pitchers have allowed 1 or 0 runs in all 7 starts this season, posting a 1.12 ERA in 40 1/3 innings. Gray and Pablo Lopez have each logged an outing of at least 7 innings, which Twins starters did only 10 times last season. Sonny Gray, 7 innings, 1 walk, 1 earned run, 13 strikeouts. What a great start for Sonny Gray. The strikeouts by Gray were the most by a Twins pitcher since Francisco Liriano had 15 in 2012 against Oakland. The Astros struck out 16 times and tied for their second most in the last 6 years. Jose Urquidy, 5 1/3, 7 hits, 1 earned run, and 6 strikeouts. Kyle Tucker got a double. And for the trainer's room, this is the injury updates. Max Kepler was on the bench for a 3rd straight game, but he's available for pinch hitting. Joey Gallo has right side soreness. He left after 5 innings, replaced by Nick Gordon. Tonight we'll have Luis Garcia up against Joe Ryan. Luis Garcia not off to a great start. He's 0-1, 5.40 ERA, and Joe Ryan, on the other hand, 1-0 with a 1.5 ERA. White Sox in Pittsburgh. Andrew McCutchen visits Pittsburgh for the first time, took in the moment. He fought back the tears he knew would come and settled in for his first at bat at PNC Park with Pittsburgh in more than 5 years. Why does this want to make me cry? Leonard, I'm crying. It's just, here's the thing. McCutchen was huge to the Pirates. And when he was with the Pirates, they went to the playoffs 3 years in a row when he was with them. I remember when he came to the Arizona Fall League, and I was arguing with Steve Gardner in the car about how good he was going to be, because back then he stole a ton of bases. And then he came up and I remember he hit 4 home runs in a game, stole bases. He was the face of the franchise in Pittsburgh, and he was a huge fan favorite. And yesterday, this park was sold out, of course, but the fans went crazy. And, of course, here's Andrew McCutchen hits a single to right field, the start of a 19-hit barrage by the Pirates in a 13-9 victory over the White Sox that served as an emotional homecoming for McCutchen, and Pittsburgh hopes a sign of things to come. Brian Reynolds continued his torrid start by driving in 6 runs. He is now the best player on the team, the way McCutchen was a decade ago. Yet he never played in front of a crowd that large at PNC Park. Many of them were wearing black at McCutchen's request in a nod to the team's brief run of 3 straight playoff appearances from 2013 to 2015. Reynolds hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd and bases-clearing triple in the 5th. Connor Joe tied a career high with 4 hits. Ji Wan Bae had 3 hits. Dory Moreta worked 2 scoreless innings for his first Major League win. Luis Robert hit a pair of 2-run homers for the White Sox. Oscar Colas added the first home run of his career in the 9th. Tim Anderson collected 4 hits and scored 4 times, but Chicago was undone by another shaky pitching performance. The White Sox pitching is abysmal. Does that sound like you, Leonard?
Yes.
I told you, the White Sox have allowed 12 or more runs in 3 of their last 4 games, and they lost all 3 of those. Lucas Giolito, who no-hit the Pirates in 2020, allowed 7 runs and a career-high 12 hits in 4 innings. And then Rich Hill, he struggled as the White Sox pounded the 43-year-old's variety of breaking pitches, most of which didn't surpass 75 miles an hour. He gave up 7 runs and 8 hits. 3 of those were homers in 4+ innings. Going into Friday's game, Stephen Kwan had 6 at-bats with a runner on 3rd and less than 2 outs, and he brought home the runner to score in all 6 at-bats. When Rich Hill first got drafted, Oscar Colas was 0 years and 8 months old. All right, now here's some news. Alex Colomé is back in the organization. He had a 2.27 ERA and 42 saves over 83 games with the White Sox from 2019 to 2020. And he's back with the White Sox. And we know the White Sox do not have a specified closer, right? Who's the closer for the White Sox?
Who's the closer for the White Sox? They're splitting it up, but right now it looks like it's going to be Kendall Graveman. Could be Ronaldo Lopez.
I like Ronaldo Lopez, but he hasn't been very good.
Yeah, Lopez, Graveman, or Aaron Bummer.
Lopez, Graveman, or Aaron Bummer. Well, now they have Alex Colomé back. Mike Clevenger faces Vince Velasquez tonight. Clevenger threw 5 shutout innings against Houston in his debut with the White Sox last Sunday. Kansas City, San Francisco. Vinny Pasquantino hit his first home run of the season, leading off the 4th. Salvador Perez connected in the 8th for his first of 2023, and the Royals beat the Giants 3-1. Nicky Lopez had an RBI single against Brad Keller, and it's the second win so far for Kansas. That's Brad Keller's second win so far for Kansas City. The Royals lost 3 straight and went 1-6 at home for just the second time beginning a season. Alex Cobb threw 7 innings. Great outing by Alex Cobb. Although he struck out 6, he didn't walk anybody. 2 earned runs. Alex Cobb getting it done. He's great when he's healthy. Giants right-hander Alex Cobb struck out 6 over 7 sharp innings, but he didn't get enough run support. Even though the Giants were leading the majors with 15 home runs going into yesterday's game, they did nothing for Alex Cobb in his great outing yesterday. In his first start with San Francisco, which has yet... Listen to this. Okay, this is interesting. You know, the new schedule this year is having every team play every other team at least once. San Francisco has yet to face a National League opponent, given the new schedule format. That's so interesting. But it's only the second week of baseball. But still, it's just weird that the Giants start the season facing 2 American League teams. Aroldis Chapman pitched the 8th, and Scott Barlow earned his first save after a career-best 24 last season. The Giants dropped to 40-26 in home openers since they moved west from New York in 1958, including 6-8 in their waterfront ballpark, 16-8. They're 40-26 in home openers since moving west from New York. They're 16-8 in their waterfront ballpark that opened in 2000. Roberto Perez left the game with a right shoulder strain. Brandon Crawford, dealing with discomfort in his left knee during spring training, was better and in the lineup, but Gabe Kapler said he's not sure if Brandon Crawford will ever be 100%. That's not very nice, okay? Mitch Haniger and Austin Slater won't play this homestand. Today you have Sean Manaea against Brady Singer. Brady Singer had a good start. He's coming into tonight's start 1-0 with a 1.80 ERA, but he faces Sean Manaea, who started off, now he has a 13.5 ERA. That's, of course, after just one start, so I'm not trying to put too much into this. King Hap says Alex Colome's career came to an end one year... The year that Taco was big on him, and he's never been the same. It's the Taco curse. Hello, Taco, if you're listening. I hope you win some marbles soon. He's not that bad. Anyway, Isaac Paredes hit a grand slam during Tampa Bay's 6-run second inning, and the Rays beat the Athletics 9-5 to extend their season-opening win streak to 7 games. The Rays are the first Major League team to win each of their first 7 games by 4 or more runs since the 1884 St. Louis Maroons. The Maroons' season-opening stretch went 13 games. No other big league team has had a run of more than 4. So, Tampa Bay has already claimed second in the most wins to start a season. But it's not just the most wins. It's the most wins beating their opponent by 4 or more runs. So, Harold Ramirez, Manny Margot, Christian Bethancourt, and Wander Franco all homered for Tampa Bay. The Rays' 18 homers are the most through 7 games in team history. 18 homers. Zach Eflin, my boy, Zach Eflin, 6-inning pitch, 9 hits, 3 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. I love this guy. Every time the writers write about him, they always make sure to mention that he signed a $40 million free agent contract, which is the highest free agent contract that Tampa Bay has ever signed. But that's not why I liked him. Tampa Bay does great with pitchers, and what are you going to do? I said the Tampa Bay Rays hit 5 home runs yesterday. Margot, Paredes, Wander Franco hit a homer, Bethancourt, and Harold Ramirez. Oakland got solo home runs from Ryan Noda and Shea Langoliers. The Athletics have lost 5 of the last 7. Ken Waldichuk only made it through 3 innings, 8 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, and 3 walks. He walked 3 in 1 inning, all 3 walks in 1 inning, but he only made it 3 innings, so... Anyways, he walked 3 in an inning, so the bases are loaded. And then he struck out 2 in a row. And then right after that, when he was ready to be saving himself from death, he gives up a grand slam. So yeah, what an interesting inning for Waldichuk. The fact that he walked 3 batters and was able to strike out 2 says something about his mound presence and his ability to shake it off, but he did then give up a grand slam. His ERA went from 9.53 to 14.54 after his 3-inning outing. He's allowed 7 home runs over 8 2/3 innings in his 2 starts this season. The Rays have outscored their opponents 53-17 so far this season. And tonight, you get to see Shintaro Fujinami. He's going to make his second major league start today after pitching for 10 years in Japan. Last start, he allowed 8 runs, the most by an Oakland pitcher in his big league debut, over 2 1/3 innings. He's going up against lefty Jeffrey Springs, who's 1-0 with a 0 ERA and went 6 no-hit innings in his season debut last Sunday against Detroit. San Diego narrowly beat the Braves yesterday with Nelly Cruz. 2 RBIs and a double for Nelly Cruz, a stolen base by Machado. Nick Martinez pitched 4 2/3 for the Padres, 4 strikeouts, 1 home run allowed, 4 earned runs. And Josh Hader came in the 9th for his second save. 1 inning, 2 strikeouts, nothing else. That's excellent box scores. And then Ozuna, who we talked about earlier, he got a home run yesterday, his second of the season. So now he's probably 2 for 20, and both of his hits are probably home runs. I'm just kidding. I don't really know for sure about that, but I will tell you, when he was 1 for 17, his only hit was a home run. He hasn't done much better since then because, like I said, his batting average went from .065 to .095. He's still getting in the lineup every day. Ronald Acuna stole 2 bases yesterday to put his total up to 4 stolen bases, which is a great sign for anybody that drafted Acuna. The fact that he's running so much, and I think his injury was his knee or his hip or something in his leg. So I really do believe that watching him run so much is a great sign for how healthy he is. Jared Schuster pitched 4 innings, 4 earned runs, and 4 walks. You can't walk as many guys as you're striking out. He struck out 4, walked 4, earned 4 runs, and pitched 4 innings. Everything is 4 across the board. 6 hits allowed. St. Louis and Milwaukee. Brandon Woodruff pitched 4-hit ball into the 6th inning, and the Milwaukee Brewers beat the Cardinals 4-0 last night for their 6th straight win. Willie Adames hit a solo home run for Milwaukee. Garrett Mitchell, the rookie, collected 2 more hits. He is on fire. Christian Yelich had a run-scoring ground out. Woodruff struck out 4 and walked 2 in 5 1/3. He improved to 9-1 in his last 20 starts dating to last season. He actually said he felt tired and told Craig Counsell that in the dugout before starting the 6th. So we'll see what happens there. He's a little injury prone. So Milwaukee has 3 shutouts in its last 4 games, and it has outscored opponents 42-12 during this win streak. Jack Flaherty allowed 2 runs and 4 hits in 5 innings. He walked 6. That's horrible. He struck out 3, and that was his 100th big league start. Tyler O'Neill was back in center field for St. Louis in his first start since he was criticized by Marmol for his base running. O'Neill went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Injury update on Adam Wainwright. Threw a full 30-pitch bullpen session and could throw another one tomorrow. Lars Nootbaar has a thumb contusion. He's going to do his hitting progression with the club next week. Tonight, this is another injury. We're moving over to the Brewers' injuries. Aaron Ashby underwent arthroscopic surgery on the labrum of his left shoulder. He opened the season on the injured list, and there is no timetable for his return. Tyrone Taylor on the 10-day injured list with a right elbow sprain suffered a slight setback and is resting before resuming baseball activities in 3 to 4 days. Cardinals rookie Jordan Walker went 1 for 4. He has at least 1 hit in each of his first 7 big league games. Tonight, you're going to see Jordan Montgomery up against Eric Lauer. I'll take Lauer. I don't know. It's another matchup of lefties. All right, Nats, Colorado. This is a great time for the Nats. Today's a great day, so we should appreciate it and cherish it, because I don't know how many of these are going to happen. But we got Alex Call, who we're going to talk about a little bit today, because nobody knows about him and nobody's talked about him, and he could really be somebody to pick up if you have a shallow league or a deep league. If you have a deep league and the pickups are shallow. Alex Call and Heimer Candelario hit back-to-back home runs. C.J. Abrams drove in 3 runs with a pair of triples, and the Nationals beat the Rockies 10-5. It was all part of a 19-hit eruption for the Nationals as they broke a 4-game skid. Mackenzie Gore is looking good. Turned in another strong performance, and he's now earned both wins for the National this season. They're only 2-6, and the 2 wins that they have were both pitched by Mackenzie Gore. He's a lefty, and he was coming up with San Diego, and everybody loved him. And if you took a chance on Mackenzie Gore in your draft, I got to say kudos to you, because this kid was something. Turned out to be just took too long, and then, everybody gives up on him. But he sure is looking great. They stretched him out, and he is looking great. Joey Meneses got a double. That's his second double. That's all he did, Boston Paul, so don't get too excited. Candelario hit his second home run. Robles stole a base yesterday. Mackenzie Gore, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and 6 strikeouts. 64 of 98 pitches were strikes. Now let's talk about this 28-year-old Alex Call. He's 28 years old. He was batting leadoff yesterday, and here's the thing about him. I put in some notes about why he was batting leadoff, but he likes to walk, and he does get on base. He went 1 for 4 with a homer and 3 RBIs, and now he's driven in 7 runs over 6 games to start the season. So I'm going to tell you this now. If you hit, you drive in runs, you stay in the lineup. That's all there is to it. And with his ability to get on base, he's going to continue to bat near the top. Let me tell you his fantasy outlook from RotoWire this year. It says a 3rd-round selection by the White Sox in 2016. Alex Call was traded to Cleveland in 2018. He got his first big league opportunity in 2022, but logged only 16 plate appearances in the majors. Cleveland let him go. The Nationals brought him in on a waiver claim, and he finished with a .772 OPS and 5 homers in 35 games with the club down the stretch. So he was playing last year. 35 games, hit 5 home runs. He stole 3 bases, and he was also caught stealing 3 times. So stealing is probably not his best asset. Anyways, he's going to continue to stay in the lineup if he continues to hit. And like I said, if you don't have a lot of free agents to choose from in your league, if you're in an NL only, Alex Call could be somebody to grab because he's been in the lineup and he's driving in runs. Plus, he gets on base a lot. C.J. Abrams, 3 hits, 3 RBIs. He's batting .467 over his last 4 games. The 5th Nationals player since 2005 to hit 2 triples in a game. And Eddie, if you're there, this is why you decided not to trade C.J. Abrams to Boston Paul. Gore and Abrams were both acquired by the Nationals last summer as part of the deal that sent Juan Soto to the Padres. Rocky starter Jose Urena, 0-2, never found his rhythm. He lasted only 2 2/3, allowed 6 runs, 4 earned, and 7 hits while walking 3. He still improved his ERA on the season from 15.43 to 14.40. National second baseman Luis Garcia left the game with a tight right hamstring. He's probably day-to-day, according to Dave Martinez. The Rockies are unsure when closer Daniel Bard will face hitters again. He's on the injured list due to anxiety. Now, Chris Bryant had a walk and an RBI single. Bryant has reached base in 45 of his 50 games since he signed with the Rockies last season. Too bad he's only played 50 games. That's the downside. So, yeah, when he plays, he gets on. Here's the thing, what Dave Martinez said about Alex Call batting leadoff. He said he doesn't mind mixing it up at the leadoff spot for the right matchup. Given Urena's tendency to walk batters and Call's peskiness at the plate, Martinez figured the matchup was tilted in Washington's favor. Now, Bud Black over in Colorado feels that Kyle Freeland, playing in the World Baseball Classic, has helped him get off to a hot start this season. He's 2-0 and has yet to give up a run. Black explained it was the intense competition that got him ready early. Freeland threw 6 innings over 2 games for the United States. Tonight, we're going to see Washington righty Trevor Williams go against lefty Austin Gomer. 2 more games. Toronto Angels. Bo Bichette hit a 3-run homer in the 7th, and Toronto Blue Jays overcame a 2-run deficit to spoil the Los Angeles Angels home opener with a 4-3 victory Friday night. Bichette and Vladdy Jr. each had 2 hits. The Blue Jays opened the final series of their season-opening 10-game trip with their 4th consecutive win. Chris Bassett and 3 relievers combined on a 3-hitter. Bassett gave up 2 hits and 5 walks over 6 innings, improving significantly on his miserable Toronto debut in his season-opening start in St. Louis, despite Trout's 441-foot homer in the first. That was the first pitch he saw, by the way. So here's a team. You got Mike Trout homering on the first pitch he sees, and then Ohtani had the other 2 hits for the Angels, who lost for only the second time in 6 games. But the rest of the Angels lineup went 0 for 21. So basically, you're dealing with the 2-man wrecking ball here that's going to basically win or lose your games. The rest of the lineup went 0 for 21, so the Angels became the first team to get extra base hit by a pair of former MVPs, while their teammates all went hitless in the same game since Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, and the Yankees did it on May 6, 1962. Patrick Sandoval allowed 6 hits over 6 innings in his second straight strong start for the Angels, but 2 relievers wasted a 3-1 lead within 2 outs of his departure. Jimmy Herget gave up a 2-out single to George Springer before Bichette hit his second homer of the season, turning the Jays' 2-run deficit into a 1-run lead. 3 Jays relievers combined on 3 hits of 1-hit ball, with Jordan Romano pitching the 9th for his 4th save. Jordan Romano, 4 saves. Whoopee. Jordan Leplo went 0 for 3 as the designated hitter in his debut with the Jays, who claimed him off waivers from Atlanta just 2 days ago. Injury updates for the Angels. You have right-handed pitcher Griffin Canning says he's fully healthy after starting the season on the injured list. He missed the entire 2022 season with a back injury and hasn't pitched in the majors since July 2nd, 2021. Canning is a candidate to be the Angels' spot 6th starter, possibly next week. Griffin Canning. Now, tonight... Hold on, I gotta have a sip of coffee. Tonight, I picked up Tyler Anderson this past week. There's not a lot to choose from. And I'm very disappointed that my NFBC, that's where I'm playing the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational, it didn't show him having any start this weekend. And so I left him on the bench. And we'll see what happens. But he is starting tonight. He's 1-0 with a 0 ERA. And he's going up against Jose Berrios, who's 0-1 with a 12.71 ERA. I just wish Jose Berrios would figure it out. He's like so close to figuring it out. And every year I love Jose Berrios. I love to watch him pitch. He reminds me of Jose Fernandez a little bit, but he has not been able to pull it together. I just wish he would just pull it together. He's such a good pitcher, and he's not living up to his potential. One more game. Arizona and the Dodgers. Now, Longoria and rookie Corbin Carroll, who's exciting to watch, hit back-to-back homers in the 6th inning off Clayton Kershaw, lifting the Diamondbacks over the Los Angeles Dodgers 6-3. Kershaw took a 3-2 lead into the 6th, but Longoria launched a low breaking ball into the seats in left center. Carroll then turned on an inside fastball, giving Arizona a 4-3 lead with the drive over Chase's Field pool. You know the Chase Field pool? Do people swim in that pool during games?
I don't know.
Longoria reached 4 times, adding a double, single, and a walk. The Diamondbacks opened a 6-3 lead in the 8th. Kershaw, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. He made his 400th career start. We already told you that. He's the 139th pitcher in big league history to hit that mark. And only 33 other pitchers in MLB history have made 400 starts for one team. Adam Wainwright has 390 starts with the Cardinals, and he could join the group this year as well. The active leader is Kansas City's Zach Greinke, has 516 starts for the Royals, and that ranks 44th. It was the 73rd time Austin Barnes caught a Kershaw start. Only A.J. Ellis has caught more Kershaw starts than Austin Barnes. And Kershaw has a 198 and 87 career record and a 2.48 career ERA. Dre Jameson, Miguel Castro, and Andrew Chafin combined to pitch 4 1/3 innings of hitless relief. James Outman and Chris Taylor both homered for the Dodgers. Madison Bumgarner had another shaky start. He's not good, giving up 3 runs and 5 hits over 4 2/3 innings. He struck out 5 and walked 6. Bumgarner also got hit hard in his season opening start against the Dodgers in LA last week and went back to Phoenix early to check for potential injury. For injury updates, the Dodgers said Dave Roberts says that Tony Gonsolin threw a 32-pitch bullpen session, and he also added that he watched it and it was pretty encouraging. He said the team was still determining the next step in rehab for Tony Gonsolin. Tonight, you're going to see Noah Syndergaard, who did have a great start to the season last week. He's going to go up against Zach Davies, who also had a good start to the season. Both are 0-0. Syndergaard has a 1.50 ERA and Zach Davies has a 1.80 ERA. That should be a good matchup. Now, I'm all done. 10:01. Hello, Big Al. Nice to see you. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming on board today. And you will hear the Lady and the Legend tomorrow right here at LennyMelnickFantasySports.com/live. Join us in the chat room. It'll be great fun. And have a great sunny Saturday.
And Dawn is in the chat room.
Dawn is here.
Yeah.
And my friend Dawn from North Carolina. And that means that her 2 dogs that I love, Piglet and Snoopy, are here too. And her husband Keith. We like to say hello to all of you guys. Have a great day.